Well, okay, this is Tech Math 2. And we're in section 7-3, which has to do with quadratic formula. So if I have an equation in the form ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0, then I can find the answer. And I can't factor it. If I can factor this, that's what I want to do first. But if I can't factor it, then my x is going to be minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. Unless I'm smart about this and I say, well, if I'm in the form ax squared plus 2b, that's 2b is different than not 2b, in case you're wondering. So those are two different things. 2b plus c. Then I can say my equation is in the form x is equal to minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus ac divided by a. And that cuts down some of my computational steps and allows me to not fat finger my calculator and get the right answer. Okay, so if what's in front of the x is even, I default to this guy. But today I'll probably just do it both ways anyway. Okay, so that being the case, we'll look at problem number 1. Maybe I'll get the right problem number 1 this time. What do you think? Think I might? All right, well, before we go to problem number 1, why don't we think about what it means, what it means to have a solution. So I have something in the form ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0, and I say x is equal to something. Now, x is going to be equal to 2 somethings because I've got an x squared term there. All right. What does that mean? Well, what that means is that if I look at an xy plane and I look at the graph of this equation, where that equation crosses 0 is those 2 points. So this finding a solution has a physical meaning associated with it too. It's saying that I'm finding these 2 points right here where this equation of whatever it is crosses y equals 0. So that's what I'm doing here. Okay? So, so I'm using the quadratic formula to come up with some numbers. Those numbers have some meaning associated with them. All right, now I'm back to, and in fact, if I wanted to, I could just go and graph this stupid thing and figure out where they are, right? So we'll do that with number 1. We'll go in and get a piece of graph paper. And all right, so there's a piece of graph paper. Oh, yeah, that was good. All right. So number 1 says x squared minus 4x minus 32 is 0. So when x is 0, y is minus 32. Well, that's way down here someplace. All right. When x is 1, then I'm going to be minus 35. That doesn't help me anyway. When x is 2, that's going to be a 4. That's still going to be minus something very big. All right, so we'll pick x is 5. When x is 5, then I got 25 minus 20, which is a 4. So this is going to be minus 28. All right, when x is a 8, I'm going to have 64 minus 8 times 4 is 32. Oh, that's 0. Oh, yes. So when x is 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I'm going to be at 0. So this guy's going to go down like that and come up like this. And someplace I can continue doing that, and somewhere in here, I'm going to find the other zero. So I could graph it. I could put it in my graphing calculator and graph it. What a pain in the butt. I'm not going to do that. Okay. So this is number 1. X squared minus 4x minus 32 is 0. Can I factor that? Yeah, I can just factor it, right? And this is x minus 8x plus 4. Okay, so I could have factored it and said x is equal to minus 4 and 8. So I could have done that, but I'm in this particular section, so I want to use quadratic formula. So I can say x is equal to minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. So I could do that, and so I would have a 4 plus or minus square root of, let's see, that's a 16 plus a 128 plus 128 divided by 2. What's that? 144. So that'd be 4 plus or minus 12 divided by 2. And then I could have 8 or minus what? Minus 4. 8 or minus 4. So I could do that. Or I could say I'm gonna use the half quadratic formula and say I've got x squared minus 4x minus 12, 32 really. 32 is 0, and I could say x is equal to minus a minus 2. So I'm going to say this is minus 2b. So b would be a minus 2. So this, yeah, there's plus 2b, so that'd be b is a minus 2. Okay, so plus or minus square root minus 2 squared minus 4 times a times c divided by 1. There's no 4 though. Right. Minus 1 times that. Okay, so I've got 4 plus or minus the square root of 4 plus 32, which is 36. So that's going to be 4 plus or minus 6. And my answers are 4 plus or minus 6. I'd get a 10, oh, 2. 2 plus or minus 6. Way to go. 2 plus or minus 6. And I get an answer of 8 and minus 2 again. So 3 different ways to do it, 3 different answers. But I do like the lack of math I did that time. Didn't have to think as much. All right, number 3. 2x squared minus 3x minus 9 is 0. Notice that I did not write down the problem as written in the book because it's written wrong on purpose so that it would confuse you. So I put it in the right order. This guy's now odd, so I can't use the half quadratic formula. Can I factor it? Yeah, this guy factors. 2x x minus 3 plus 3, right? Yeah. So I expect my answer to come up as 3 and minus 3 over 2 is what I expect my answers to be. I can just put this in my calculator and check that out too while I'm at it. So second function, solve a polynomial, and I've got a 2, and I've got a minus 3, and I've got a minus 9. 2 minus 3 minus 9 solve. And I have minus 3 over 2 and 3. So my factor. Okay, so now what are we doing now? I forget. Oh, we're doing what the problem told us to do. Okay, so x is equal to a minus 3. Normally we wouldn't write it that, we'd just write plus 3. Plus or minus the square root of minus 3 squared minus 4 times a times c over 2a. All right. 3 plus or minus square root of 9 plus 72. Is that what that is? 9 plus 72 divided by 4. Okay, so that's 3 plus or minus the square root of 81 divided by 4. 3 plus or minus 9 divided by 4. X would be solution set. The positive guy, 12 divided by 4, would be a 3. The negative guy would be a minus 6 divided by 4 minus 3 over 2. And wow, we got the same answer. How did that happen? 3 different ways in the same problem. But, well, that's what life is supposed to be about. All right, so, oh, 10. That looks like a nice problem. Numbers that we can't handle. 10. 12x squared minus 72x minus 135 is equal to 0. Well, you know, 3 goes into each of those numbers. So we could rewrite that as 4x squared minus 24x minus 45. Okay, so we could rewrite it that way. And we could probably factor this too if we wanted to. But what we'll do is we'll make sure we know what the right answer is before we start. So we'll go and figure out what the right answer is. So A is 12, B is minus 72, and minus 135. Oh, this is so boring. Minus 3 over 2 again. Oh, that's better, 15 over 2. So that's what my calculator says the answer is, so that's what I should be able to get. Now that I know that, I can factor this, right? So this guy now factors now that I know that. So there's going to be 2x and 2x. And we're going to be plus 3 and minus 15. And yeah, that works. So now I can factor it now that I know the answer. Well, that doesn't help me any because this is still, I'm supposed to be using quadratic formula. Okay, so I'm going to use quadratic formula, and I'm going to do dum-de-dum and just do the quadratic formula on the problem itself. X is equal to minus 72 plus or minus square root of minus 72 squared minus 4 times A times C divided by 2A. Well, that doesn't look too good. 72 plus or minus something divided by 24. So, square root of 72 squared plus 4 times 12 times 135. 1.08, really? 1.08? That can't be right. 4AC. What did I put in the calculator wrong?
Can you move the corner a little bit?
Hmm?
Can't see the
Can't see the whole screen? All right, view, zoom, 150. Is that better? All right. Oh, wait a minute, that's right. No, that's not a problem. 108. 108. All right. I didn't see the exponent guy. I thought it was 1.08 and I was host, but it's 1.08 exponent 2. So that means I have to move the decimal point over twice. Okay, well, that being the case, if I'm positive, that would be 180 over 24. And if I'm negative, that would be minus 36 over 24. And because I already know the answer, I'll just guess that this is minus 3 over 2, and this guy's 15 over 2. This guy 15 over 2? What's 12 times 15? 12 times 15. Yes, that's right. Excellent. All right. But if I was doing this on a test or something and I wasn't just putting in my calculator to get the answer, I would notice that I'm divisible by 3 and I would solve that problem. I wouldn't solve the more difficult one. If I was on some desert island doing it by hand. Yeah. That's where Ben thinks he's always on a desert island. Anyway. So I got x squared plus 5x minus 7, and I look at it, this guy can't factor. Okay, so I can't factor it. I can put it in my calculator though. But then I got to use the whole thing. Minus b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac divided by 2. Okay, so I got minus 5 plus or minus 28. Is that 28? 28 plus 25. 53. 53? Square root of 53 divided by 2. There's nothing wrong with that answer. We'd be perfectly okay doing that. 53 is a prime number. There's nothing I can do about that. And but I could go and second function, look at this guy and say I've got a 1, and I've got a 5, and I've got a minus 7, and so this would be 1.14. and minus 6.14. Is that what this is? Minus 5 minus the square root of minus 5 minus the square root of 53 divided by 2. Way to go. Just glorious, calculator. Change it to something else. Yeah, well, that's the right answer. Okay, well, I guess we did that one right. Oh, look at that guy. That looks good. Okay, we'll move down to 30. Number 30. 9x squared minus 30x plus 25 is 0. And we're going to go and say this is in the form 9x squared plus 2 times minus 15x plus 25, and use the half quadratic formula. So x is going to equal minus a minus 15 plus or minus square root of minus 15 squared minus AC minus AC. Yeah, I guess so. Minus AC divided by A. All right, so that's what we're going to do. So I got 15 plus or minus square root of 15 squared is 225, right? 225 minus 225. Are both of those 225? Divided by 9. And so I got 15 divided by 9. 3 goes into both, right? So it'd be 5 over 3. And I'd have a double root at 5 over 3. Wow. I do? I have a double root at 5 over 3? Wow. Pretty special if I do. All right, so second function, polynomial solver. Okay, so what was I doing anyway? Okay, so I got a 9, and I've got a minus 30, and I got a 25, and I solve it. 5 over 3, 5 over 3, yeah. Shows double root of 5 over 3. Well, wasn't that special. That was pretty good. Now, if I tried to do that without that, and I was squaring 30 there, and I had an extra 4 here, it would have been more difficult to do in my head. Okay. Guess we'll do 33 next. 33. 21.4x squared minus 16.4x minus 12.4 equals 0. And yeah, we clearly would have to use our calculator to get it anyway, so why don't we just go get it? 21.4 minus 16.4 minus 12.4. Did I write down the problem right? Solve. So x is equal to solution set minus 0.469. And then the next guy is 1.22, 1.24, 1.24. All right, so that looks all right. Now, if I wanted to do it for real, okay, I got 16.4 plus or minus square root of 16.4 squared minus 4 times A times C divided by 2A. And that looked like a pretty jerky 2 to me. And at this point, I'm stuck. I'd have to do it with my calculator anyway, right? So I might as well just do a polynomial solver and come up with the right answer. So square root of 16.4 squared minus, making it plus 4 times 21.4 times 12.4 equals 36.47 divided by 42.8. All right, so I'll take the positive guy first. 16.4 plus 36.47 equals divided by 42.8. And I get a 1.24. And then I'll take the negative guy second. 16.4 minus 36.47 equals divided by 42.8 minus 0.469. Oh, yeah, looks good. All right. And I'd probably want to put solution sets around that. And I want to rewrite it to put the negative guy first and things like that. Okay. Do 44. Looks like a relative pain. 44. Okay, I've got y is equal to 3x squared plus 2x. And I want to find solutions at y is equal to 0 and 40 and 3 and minus 3. Luckily, we have another 15 minutes in the class. Okay, so we'll do the easiest one first. Y is 0. So if y is 0, then I've got x times 3x plus 2 is 0, clearly implying that x can be 0 or minus 2 over 3. Okay, if y is equal to 40, then I've got 3x squared plus 2x minus 40 is 0. And then I can say that I should be able to factor that, I would imagine. Well, I'm not going to. Okay, so x is going to be minus 1 plus or minus the square root of 1 minus 3 times minus 40 divided by 3. Minus 1 plus or minus 121. So that'd be 11 divided by 3. So x would be, if it's a negative guy, then that'd be 12. So that'd be minus 4. And if we were a positive guy, that'd be 10, which would be 10 over 3. All right, so for y is equal to 3, then I would have, what would I have? Y is equal to 3. 3x squared plus 2x minus 3 is 0. So x would be minus 1 plus or minus square root of 9 plus 9 divided by 3. 9 plus 9 divided by 3? All right. Minus 1 plus or minus 18. 18, so that'd be 3 the square root of 2 divided by 3. Minus 1/3 plus or minus the square root of 2. That should be good enough. And the last problem, y is equal to minus 3. So I'm going to have 3x squared plus 2x plus 3 equal to 0. Interesting. Very interesting. Is that interesting? Or is it just me? So x is going to be minus 1 plus or minus the square root of 1 squared minus 9 divided by 3. And that means we don't have a solution because we don't do imaginary numbers yet. 2 the square root of minus 2 divided by 3. Looks like I have a graphing error here. Now if we were in chapter 14, we'd call that minus 1/3 plus or minus 2i, but we're not. So we wouldn't call it that. It would say no solution, no solution, because I got an imaginary, I can't take the square root of a negative number, no solution, until we get to someplace else. We'll put the last one in our calculator and see what it does. A 3, a 2, and a 3. Tell it to solve. Well, I don't know. I don't know that it, yeah, it's showing it as an imaginary number. But this is over 3 there. You guys should have caught me on that one. It's saying that I'm wrong. How can it be saying that I'm wrong? Wow, what did I do wrong? That's an 8, right? 3 times 3 is 9 with a minus sign. Oh, this is square root of 2i. All right, I see. Erase that. This is I, the square root of 2. Okay, that's better. I'm happy about that now. Okay, but again, it'd be no solution because we're in chapter 7 yet and we can't deal with imaginary numbers. All right, 52, and then we'll go home. Well, we won't, you guys don't go home. I don't know what you guys do. You do something. You do something today after this class? Yeah, you have a class at 10. Yeah, I remember. All right, 52. 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h is equal to s. All right, minus s is equal to 0. Minus s is equal to 0. And that won't go in my calculator very well, will it? No, it won't. Fine. So I can't just put it in my, I can put this 2 pi in my calculator, but it's the 2 pi h that I'd get into trouble with. Okay, so I'm going to solve for r. R is equal to minus 2 pi h plus or minus the square root of 2 pi h squared minus 4 times 2 pi times minus s divided by 2 times 2 pi there. Now this is where I should have used the half quadratic formula, and that would have simplified things for me. So minus 2 pi h plus or minus the square root of 4 pi squared h squared plus 8 pi s divided by 4 pi. Okay, well, that seems all right. I can factor out a 4 out of both of those guys. So I'm going to have minus 2 pi h plus or minus square root of 2 times the square root of pi squared h squared plus 2 pi s divided by 4 pi. I now have a 2 there, a 2 there, and a 2 down there. So I guess it's time to write final answer. Final answer. R is equal to pi h plus or minus the square root of pi squared h squared plus 2 pi s over 2 pi. All right, so now I've done that. Now we're going to do it again. So we'll start with the first equation again. 2 pi r squared plus 2 times pi h r minus s is equal to 0. So now we're in the form plus 2b, and we say r is equal to minus pi h plus or minus the square root of pi h squared minus 2 pi s divided by 2 pi. And we say r is equal to minus pi h plus or minus the square root of pi squared h squared minus 2 pi s over 2 pi. And we got done before we started. So if I use half the quadratic formula, I got done before I started, and I left out a whole lot of lines to get there, and life is much better. All right. Should we do something else? Probably not. Probably good enough.